Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, dear students of Standard 6. How are you all? Hope you all are fine by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am also fine. Here is my identification. Me Mahfuz Shati, lecturer physics, Square High School and College, Pabna. Dear students, you know I am taking your science class and I am explaining chapter 1. Today's topics. Today I will explain some topics from chapter 1, that is measurement, units and types of units. So let's start the class. The name of this chapter is scientific process and measurement. Okay, so at first you have to know what is measurement. Measurement is finding a number that shows the size or amount of something. We can measure the length, area, volume, mass, time and temperature. There are lots of other things we can measure, but these are the most common. Look, so we can measure time by using clock, then height by using scale, then temperature. So every quantities which can be measured is known as physical quantity. And we can measure anything of any physical quantity. That means we can measure the length, breadth, height, volume. Everything can be measured. So what is the necessity of measurement? Isn't it? I think this question will come into your mind. We usually depend on our assumptions while measuring things in various common situations in life. Isn't it? Suppose if I ask you what is the length of your table, then by you can tell any number, any of the measurement of that table by your assumption. Okay. Again, the time you start for school, you can tell the time by assumption. In such cases, you are most likely to answer the questions on the basis of your assumption. Okay. Again, there are some other situations in our life when you cannot just depend on your assumptions while measuring something. For example, in order to determine in which group you will compete in the annual sports competition of your school. In that case, you need what? You need to measure your height. Then you will decide in which group you will compete in the annual sports competition. Or your teacher will decide in which group you will be to compete the competition. Again, suppose you want to know the news updates of different TV channel, but the different TV channels news update time is not same, isn't it? So in that case, you need what? You need to measure the time. So therefore, measurement is essential for determining a specific quantity or grades. That means, in assumption for measuring your height or the by assumption, you cannot tell about your height or the time in which time you will watch TV news or any cartoon or etc. Okay, so you need what? You need measurement. So measurement is necessary from morning to night in every sphere of life. Suppose in the morning after waking up from sleep, then you need what? You need to brush your teeth. So the paste which you are using, which you will use, that is also made by proper measurement. Then the breakfast that your mom make for you, that is also made by proper measurement. Okay, so measurement is necessary in every sphere of life. Then while coming to school, you must wear your school uniform. That is also made by the tailor by proper measurement, isn't it? Otherwise, that uniform will not suit you. That's why measurement is too much necessary. So here you need to memorize the necessity of measurement, because in the examination it can come as 2 marks question. So you can explain like this way. We feel the necessity of valid measurement in every sphere of our life. So for example, while purchasing rice or dal from the grocers, making cloth, or starting and finishing classes in time, in each of these cases, it is essential to measure accurately. Without proper measurement, it is difficult to decide how many pairs of table bench will be accommodated in a classroom, how many rooms can be built within the certain area of a house, or which room will be of what size. Moreover, while cooking, it is essential to add exact amount of spices to the curry. Life-saving medicines is also manufactured by following specific measurements, and patients have to take medicine in exact amounts as prescribed by the physician. In fact, proper measurement is necessary in every sphere of our life. Look at this picture. This girl is purchasing rice, and for purchasing rice, proper measurement is required. Okay. So, about measurements, we learned what? So, necessity of measurement. That means representation of physical quantity. I have earlier told you physical quantity means the quantity which can be measured. In this world, those quantities can be measured is known as physical quantity. Okay, because all things cannot be measured. If I ask you, how much happiness do you have after watching this movie? Okay, so you cannot tell how much amount of happiness do you have, because it cannot be measured. It's an abstract thing. So the things which can be measured is known as physical quantity. So measurement representing any physical quantity that is measurable and understandable, not observable, non-touchable. Okay. So length, mass, time, speed, acceleration, force, work, pressure, all these things can be measured. Look in this picture, here there are some measuring tools. So for measurement, one thing is necessary, that is unit. A suitable quantity of measuring something is considered to be a standard. These known as small fractional quantity of the standard is the unit of measurement. Suppose your height is 5 feet. Here 5 representing what? 5 is the measure of your height and feet is the unit of measured height. So here feet is the unit. That means by measurement we express two things, one number, another unit. That means unit is too much necessary for representing any measurement. Now, types of unit. Units of measurement is of two types: fundamental unit and derived unit. Now I will explain you fundamental unit. The unit which do not require other unit to be measured is called fundamental unit. For example, the length of a body can be measured directly by the unit of length. Here the unit of length is self-independent. That means in order to measure the length of any object, you only require the unit of length, not other quantity. Okay, so it is self-independent fundamental unit because it doesn't depend on other units for measurement. Derived unit. The unit which requires other unit to be measured is called derived unit. For example, the unit of area is made up of the unit of length and breadth. Area equal to length into breadth. So the unit of length is what? Meter. The unit of breadth is also meter. So meter into meter, what comes? Square meter. So this square meter unit is a derived unit because it is formed by the multiplication of two fundamental units. So derived units are those units which can be obtained by multiplying or by dividing one or more fundamental unit. Dear students, there are only 7 fundamental quantities, and I have made one chart of those 7 fundamental quantity and they are about their unit. Okay, you must memorize this chart. These quantities and the units are also given in your book, but here I have made one chart so that you can memorize it very easily. Okay, so fundamental quantity, there are 7 fundamental quantities: length, time, mass, current, temperature, amount of substance. Here will be amount of substance. Sorry, it's a mistake. Amount of substance, you will make the correction. And luminous intensity. Length. Length is measured by the unit meter, whose symbol is only small m. Time. The unit of time is second, that is small s. The unit of mass is kilogram, that is kg in short form. Current. That means the amount of current that flows through any conductor or any wire. That is measured by the unit ampere and whose symbol is capital A. Dear students, you have to remember one thing. Ampere, it comes from a scientist name. That's why the symbol of this unit is capital A, not small a. When any unit will come from any scientist's name, then it must be expressed by the capital letter, not by the small letter. You must remember this information. Temperature. The temperature is also measured by the unit of Kelvin, Kelvin, it is also one scientist name. So according to this his name, this unit comes. That's why it is expressed by capital K, not small k. Amount of substance, that is mole, and in short form you can write mol. Luminous intensity, that means how much intense a light is. Okay, so luminous intensity, because you can get light from a candle, from a bulb, so the intensity of light will be greater for which case? Obviously from the bulb, then that of the candle. So luminous intensity is measured by the unit candela, and it is written in the short form CD. Now I will show you the differences between fundamental unit and derived unit. So fundamental units are all those units which are independent of any other unit, including themselves. And derived units are all those units which are obtained by multiplying or by dividing one or more fundamental units, or with or without introducing any other numerical factor. Fundamental units cannot be further reduced because fundamental unit is independent, self-independent. It doesn't depend on other unit, so it cannot be reduced to elementary level. But derived unit can be reduced to elementary level. Fundamental units cannot be expressed in terms of derived unit, but derived units can be expressed in terms of fundamental unit. There are only 7 fundamental units in metric system or SI system. SI system means System International. I think you have learned it from the science book of your class 5. And there exists a large number of derived units in metric system. And 7 fundamental units, you know, meter, kilogram, second, Kelvin, mole, ampere, candela. And few derived units are Newton, Joule, Watt, Volt, Pascal, Celsius. These are derived units example. So in the exam, this can come. Write down the differences between fundamental and derived unit as 3 marks question. Okay, so you must try to memorize this chart. Again, I want to summarize fundamental units. So fundamental units are the units of the basic physical magnitudes. Magnitude means value, from which any other unit can be expressed. Unit of length is meter, so it is a fundamental unit, and by using this unit we can measure other quantity. Okay, and other unit can be formed by using this fundamental unit. So look here is a picture. Look, by a scale we can measure the length, that is the fundamental quantity, and then by this is simple balance. So by simple balance we can measure the mass of any object, that is also a fundamental quantity, and you know the unit of mass is kg. Here is the clock. By using this we can measure the time, and the unit of time is what? Second. Here about derived unit, the physical quantities which depend on one or more fundamental quantities for their measurements are known as derived quantities. So example, area, volume, speed, force. Dear students, you must try to pick up all the lectures from this content in your copy and try to memorize all the definitions on and all the things which I've told you to memorize. You must memorize, because in your examination those type of question can come. So dear students, today my lecture is up to this. If opportunity doesn't knock, build a door. So goodbye everybody.